Well, what do you know, eh? Real life just came creeping in to professional wrestling, and I don't know about you, but it put a huge smile on my face. Becky Lynch, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's not worry about storylines or narratives. It doesn't matter. What matters is somebody's reality. And it sounds like Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are about to have a good time. Well, they had a good time, and now better times are ahead. But my name is Simon Miller. You are watching Ups and Downs, the show where I go through, in this instance, Raw, and I give the good bits an up, and I give the bad bits a down. There's a lot to talk about. Let's up those downs. Before we get to the good stuff, we do have to mention that at the start of this week's Raw, commentator Tom Phillips told us that Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio had survived being thrown off a roof, at Money on the Roof, because they landed on a second roof. Of course, have I ever told you about that time I was shot with a gun, but I survived because somebody else very handedly then walked up and shot me with another gun. It's fascinating what you can cancel out these days. Roof to roofs, guns to guns. Will we ever find the end of this tumultuous roller coaster ride? Also, now, WWE, you have to make me a stable. You have to make me a stable known as the Immortal Ones, featuring AJ Styles, Aleister Black, and Rey Mysterio, because they keep on cheating death. That aside, what a brilliant open to Raw. It was real, it was emotional, maybe I had something in my eye. I poked myself in the eye by accident, but you know what I'm getting at. And it's nice and easy. Give it a damn golden up. And that's it too. I've seen some nonsense going, well, this didn't make any sense in terms of kayfabe. I don't give two flips about kayfabe right now, because not only did Becky Lynch seem properly made up, but Asuka was out there and she seemed properly made up as well. That's all I need. Happiness and joy. And that's why the Empress of Tomorrow was accompanying Becky Lynch, because it turns out the women at Money on the Roof fighting for the briefcase weren't fighting for the briefcase itself, but it was what was in the briefcase, which was the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka was absolutely brilliant here when she did find out she was the champion, because she danced around the place and even went to the commentators for some reason and went, "Go away, go away." I don't know why she did that, but I was enjoying it immensely. And yeah, it was just this lovely moment. I think it means we turned Asuka face. Is that out of nowhere? Yes. Do I care? No. Tell you what though, I couldn't believe what WWE then did next, because out came Baron Corbin, who was so annoyed that Asuka had cost him his own briefcase at Money on the Roof that he gave her the end of days, and then he turned to Becky Lynch and he gave her the deep sick. I mean, talk about controversial, also talk about a massive lie. That didn't happen, what's wrong with you? Instead, we went to the back where Becky Lynch was celebrating with her peers who were all saying congratulations, and like I said, it was just a fabulous moment. It really, really was. It was fantastic. It made me feel elated. I don't even know these people. I'm just a bored asshole. It's a round of applause all around, and congratulations, of course, to Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. Bobby Lashley then brought us crashing back down to earth as he took on Humberto Carrillo. Hands up if you're totally confused about the Bobby Lashley arc. I mean, he was falling out with Lana, and now he's not. Then he was flipping tires. I meant to think he's chosen wheels over his wife. I just have absolutely no clue, and it's getting it down. And it was just another squash, to be honest. I mean, Humberto got a little bit of offense in here, but straight up, Lashley killed this fall. And also, he has now introduced the full Nelson as his new move. So we're going back to the master lock and everything like that. And that will be cool down the line once we've got it over. But at the moment, it's just, there's a full Nelson, and it made Humberto Carrillo look like a chump. So that's what I'm going to call him now, Humberto Chump. We just need some direction with Bobby Lashley badly. Thankfully, in about 3 minutes, we're going to get it. We also learned that we were going to get the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders in a basketball game. You heard that correctly. You didn't just go crazy for a second. We are going to get those two tag teams playing a bit of b-ball. I will talk about that later. We also had an amazing segment after this when Asuka and Kairi Sane was in the back, and Kairi Sane was so pleased for Asuka being the champion, she kind of started to cast magic. I have no idea what she did, but she was on her knees and she was wiggling her fingers as if she was some kind of wizard. These two are absolutely bonkers, but my word are they gold. And there also seems to be a problem in the hen house, and I am of course referring to Zelina Vega's Angels, because we then went backstage and Austin Theory and Angel Garza were having a big falling out, and this got doubly bad after Angel Garza had beaten Tozawa, the world's greatest jobber, as a compliment, not an insult, and then they started to argue again. Clearly this wasn't confusing enough, because then Drew McIntyre was out here But that's just Raw. This is a bit like a couple of brothers who weren't able to share their PS4 properly, so then out came Dad, in this case the WWE Champion, to sort stuff out. And my word, did he sort stuff out. Because not only did he give Austin Theory a Claymore kick, Angel Garza then started laughing away like, ha ha ha, that fool got kicked in the face. The Drew McIntyre Claymore kicked him too. I mean, it was proper lads in the park kind of stuff, and then it got just even more strange because we were getting Drew McIntyre versus Andrade, and WWE were like, oh my gosh, it's champion versus champion. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. But didn't we just see this a few weeks ago? And all of a sudden, it's just happening again. And of course, Drew 1-2, he hit the Claymore kick and got the 1-2-3. But like I say, all of this was actually quite nice. We're planting some story seeds. It could have it up. And I think the whole point of this was that so Drew McIntyre could cut a promo afterwards, and he just threw out from the abyss that we're now having brand-to-brand invitational matches. I thought I'd fallen asleep watching Raw and missed some kind of story cut. He just said it like I was meant to know. Now, I did know because I'm a wrestling nerd and I go online, I type in wrestling news and I read it all the time. But if you don't and you just tuned into Raw, you'd be like, that John Travolta gif, you'd be like, what? What do you mean brand to brand? Why is it no explanation? No nothing. It's like the wild card again. At least with the wild card, Vince McMahon came out and said, we're gonna have a wild card. Here is Drew going, oh, I'm gonna fight SmackDown people. But why? No reason, down. And I will say, as much as I hated the wild card, actually this makes sense now because we're struggling with ratings, we don't have any fans, we're living in crazy, crazy times, so you should be doing stuff like this. Anyway, the point is, next week, we're gonna get Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. Meh, whatever. Then finally, I got some teasing with Bobby Lashley, which I massively regret saying I didn't mean it like that. But MVP was talking to him and saying, look, Bobby, you haven't progressed ever since 2007. That's when you were last fighting for world titles, and here we are in 2020, and you ain't doing nothing. And I really, really appreciated this, because if you're a TNA fan, you'll remember when Bobby Lashley and MVP were together there, they were really good. We should absolutely replicate that in WWE. I mean, MVP did absolutely bury Humberto Chump here by literally saying to Bobby Lashley, why are you fighting that guy? He's a massive loser. And then when he was walking away, he also bumped into Lana where he said, look, if Bob is looking for new management, you tell him to come to me. Lana then just screamed a bunch of nonsense and nobody would have reacted like that. But again, all of that is getting a pass because I really, really want to see the team of Bobby Lashley and MVP. Do it. It was then a moment of bliss, and you know how I feel about WWE talk shows, but I enjoyed the surprise guests. They can have it up. Why? Because the Iconics are back, and all these rumors and speculation that they were going to be reworked into a new gimmick were lies because they came out here doing the exact same persona they had done before. But look, I am totally cool with that because they were even insulting Becky Lynch's unborn child here, but because they're a couple of cartoons, I thought it was a hoot. As always though, the whole point of this was just to set up a title match by having a chat. Because Billie Kay and Peyton Royce were like, hey, we want to have a title match. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were like, no, you're not allowed one. What have you done? So they said, okay, well, let's have a normal match, because they've got weird accents apparently. And then they had their normal match. The Iconics won after hitting like a flatliner splash type of maneuver. And now we'll just move on to the championship match itself. I would just like a little more story here and there. I know, it's kind of cool to have a surprise return. And I did enjoy that, but just give me a little something. Even if it's just Alexa Bliss has her coffee stolen and it turns out it's Peyton Royce. And Billie Kay's like, hey, we stole your coffee, mate. That's enough. I mean, it's crap, but it's enough. Down. I then think we had my favorite interview ever, because Rey Mysterio was chatting to Charlie Caruso and he was saying, thank goodness, thank everything in the world that when he was thrown on the roof, that he landed on a second roof. That is absolutely gibberish. Have you ever just fallen on the floor normally? It really hurts. So if you get chucked off a roof and even fall 6 feet onto another roof, which is made of concrete, you're not gonna feel great. As Rey Mysterio said here, you're at least gonna have some bumps and bruises. It got even better though, because then Seth Rollins turned up and he just stared at Rey Mysterio as if he couldn't understand how Rey wasn't dead. And then when Rey tried to congratulate him on becoming a father, Seth just walked off, and apparently Seth Rollins is trying to do a homeless character now. I don't know, he looked really disheveled. But then Rey Mysterio, the hero known as Rey Mysterio, simply went, man, what a dick. And his delivery was the greatest delivery I have ever seen in my life. Rey Mysterio, you are the man. And then, back to reality. Down. I mean, who else is sick of 50-50 booking? Because I know there's that hand again that I certainly am, because we were having Shane Thorne and Brendan Vick team with MVP, and I thought last week we were going to push them to the moon, and they were taking on Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and R-Truth. But this match ended when R-Truth pinned MVP after a distraction. See if you can work it out. No, you didn't. by fake teeth. Now, I like dumb, as I said before, but I think this was the wrong side of dumb. Basically, R-Truth is now being pretty Ricky, where he sticks these fake teeth in his mouth, and they came out of his mouth at one point. He tried to give them to the referee, and the MVP was so disgusted, he was distracted, he got hit with an STO, and he lost. What the flub? The good thing though is that after this, Bobby Lashley came out and he speared R-Truth, and MVP gave him a big boot, and they left together. As you can probably understand and work out, I really want to see the team of Lash P. That's what I call them, Lash P. It's a terrible name. Call them whatever you want, just don't merge their themes together, and I will be pleased. Jinder Mahal promo was after this, and he's really happy to be back on Raw. He's happy for his friend Drew McIntyre, and he's happy that he's about to go on a brand new journey. I thought he was a heel a couple of weeks ago. Now he seems to be a face. You tell me. We also saw AJ Styles pull up a chair backstage to watch the tease that Raw was going to do for the Undertaker documentary, and he had some popcorn. I love this fact that AJ Styles is now terrified and obsessed with the dead man because the dead man tried to kill him. And we also had one kick-ass Shayna Baszler promo. All you need to know is that she was talking about Becky Lynch's unborn kid, see what all the heels were doing, and she said, "What a stupid thing to do. You're the champion, you're undefeated, and now you're gonna go off and have a kid. You know what? That kid will suck, because look who his dad is." I love all these horrible jibes and jabs at Seth Rollins. It's really mean, but it also made me laugh. We then saw Becky Lynch hugging Vince McMahon, probably to stop any stupid rumors about Becky Lynch has backstage heat. No, she doesn't, so just zip it. And then the commentators gave me just the weirdest line I think I've ever heard in the history of WWE. Not true, but hyperbole. Because they said, I'm just going to read it, and I guess they're paraphrasing to a certain extent, the secondary roof was only on one side of the building, and WWE corporate didn't alert any of the wrestlers about this. What does that even mean? Who in the world would alert someone about a second roof? Like you get big Falcon and go, second roof down there? What is the obsession with the second roof? We then, however, entered very unexpected territory, and I liked it. Let's get it up. Because it was Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio, aka the Dead Dudes, taking on Don't Call Him Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins, and Seth spent the entire time just staring off into space. It was like he was trying to figure out how photography works. Have you ever done that? How the hell can you take a machine and capture life? And after Murphy had tried to fight valiantly for himself, which is a little bit silly because he's meant to be a heel, but I was like, wow, look at him go. I kind of feel sympathy and empathy with the guy. Rollins just snapped and he grabbed Rey Mysterio and he was about to give him a damn good beating. But before that, when he did just grab him, the referee called for the disqualification, and I think my brain came out of my ears and ran away because it knew what was about to happen. Literally 5 minutes ago, the Iconics were in the ring doing double team moves, but Seth Rollins touches Rey Mysterio, and the referee's like, oh, I gotta call it DQ. You gotta come up with some straightforward line with all of this WWE, because I can't keep up and you getting a down. But with that all said, this was honestly a vicious beatdown by Seth Rollins onto Rey Mysterio, including at one point when he took Rey's head and pushed his eye, that's right, his eye, into the corner of the steel steps. And this was so well worked, I was actually sat there going, oh, it makes me feel oogly boogly. He also slammed away on it like it was an ATM that wasn't giving him his money. And even after he'd been taken back to the trainer's room, Seth Rollins turned up again, but he was back to being a zombie, like, Ray, I don't know what happened, bruh. So Fatherhood is absolutely kicking his ass, but then Aleister Black started to beat up Buddy Murphy. All of this was absolutely bonkers, and I don't know where it's going, but I did like it, especially because it means we're not just going back to Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, which WWE is wont to do. We're going to do Rey versus Seth. Gets a couple of thumbs. And then it was then time to have a basketball match, and I have never said that in the history of doing ups and downs for any wrestling show. Now, I was all ready to go, oh, I'm glad that WWE tried to do something, which is true. I want them to try new things, especially at the moment, but I didn't think this was going to work. And by the end of it, I had a big smile on my face. I'm a moron. Getting up. Essentially, the Street Profits absolutely whooped Eric and Ivar's ass, and at the end, when the Viking Raiders did score one basket, they thought they'd won, but then you cut to the scoreboard and it was like 74-2. But then, it turns out that Eric and Ivar, the Vikings, not only work professional wrestling matches, but they work basketball matches, because they were like, look, no, try again. We're actually really good at basketball. And then you had like a montage of clips of them scoring three-pointers, and even Ivar doing the big dunk. So I guess this is the start of some vignettes where the Street Profits try and outdo the Viking Raiders and vice versa. It was a little bit like those Mr. Perfect videos back in the day. Got a kick out of it. I know, get mad at me, but I'm always gonna be honest. And talking of honesty, what came next was not good. Because Natalya walked up to Shayna Baszler and actually said the words, Do you know how bad it is to disrespect the miracle known as motherhood? I mean, what else can I do? Hello, my name is Simon Miller and welcome to another episode of Nobody Talks Like That, featuring the one and only Natalya. Screw it, Natalya, what are you doing? What kind of sentence structure was that? Just go, Shayna, stop saying bad things about Becky Lynch, you absolute trash bag. I swear. Baszler then kneed Natalya in the head during a match and she got the 1-2-3. I'm not gonna lie, I actually quite like this match. Thought it was quite well fought, but for that one line, down. Baron Corbin interviewed followed this and he told us that, hey, wait a minute, it wasn't Brock Lesnar that made Drew McIntyre the man he is today, it was me, because you remember that time they teamed for about 3 minutes? That's right, it sucked. Corbin was also super mad about this second roof, because of course he was the person that had thrown off Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio, and that second roof is now getting more television time than Mojo Rawley. But yeah, he was living here, he was so pissed off, because I guess the intent was he wanted to murder these two, but the secret second roof had stopped him from doing it. Why is nobody trying to sort this out? I'll do it. But it all started in May 2020 when I heard that a man named Baron Corbin had tried to kill Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio. While doing my due diligence and doing my detective work, for some reason, nobody cared. So I have returned to solve this mystery. 1, what is the intent of Mr. Corbin and why does he want these two men dead? And also, how did they survive and where did this second roof come from? I promise I will figure it out. It was then time for our main event segment featuring Randy Orton and Edge, and these two are just flipping great. They are getting it up. Because the whole point here was that Edge had come out and he was like, look, I saw that promo last week on Raw saying I'm here to get extra revenge on Randy Orton, but I'm done with the Viper, and now it's time to see what's next. That, of course, annoyed the man who hears voices in his head, and he came out and he looked at Edge and went, look, I'll tell you this, you at WrestleMania 36 were the better man, and he went to leave, but he wasn't able to do so because he then got back in the ring and he opened up a can of verbal whoop ass. Because he said to the rated R superstar that he was nothing more than a joke. Because look at everything he's done ever since he returned. He was in the Royal Rumble and then he was in the Last Man Standing match because he's doing everything within his power not to have a normal one-on-one scrap because he knows he's got ring rest and he knows now he absolutely sucks. So while he may be the better man, Randy Orton is the better professional wrestler, and that's why he wants a one-on-one match as soon as possible so he can take his foot and ram it right up his bum. For some reason, Edge was absolutely terrified about this. He had that whole, oh my gosh, I think I've left my oven on face, but I like that because it made me think, what's he going to do? And this was almost a 10 out of 10 segment before Charlie Caruso broke the silence and went, well, if we do see that match, it will be the greatest match of all time. If I hadn't already done Nobody Talks Like That, I would do it again. You just didn't need to say anything. Let the silence speak. Either way though, both promos were absolutely brilliant and I love the logic here. Like usually when you get to a wrestling program, you start with a normal match and then you work everything else in, be it hardcore or cages, but there is logic here. It makes sense. Randy Orton thinks he's best when things are nice and simple. So far he hasn't had that with Edge. He wants to try and get some revenge. All of this was fine with me. I think we're going to get that match at Backlash, and I'm really excited about it. The only downer is that there'll be no fans. Honestly, these two, they just have wonderful chemistry, and it made me feel happy in my bones. And I like having happy bones. And that was it. That was the end of a very crazy Raw that just was like segment. Oh, Becky Lynch, segment. I was kind of exhausted by the end of it, but I am going to give it an up because I kind of felt like we drew a line under Money in the Roof and we've set up things to go forward. Also, the brand split ending does make sense as much as I hate it. You've got to try and pull everything you can right now, so it does indeed get it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, then head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you as always for joining me. I'll see you soon.